Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. We are right back on the downed tree project, if you want to call it that. On the previous video, we had a pretty good sized black oak that was laying down here, taking this whole thing over. We got it all cleaned up with the Caterpillar 304 mini excavator. We were borrowing the neighbor's wood splitter, and we've got this amount of rounds left we got to get split. We got some dirt work to do to get this whole area cleaned up after that. This is what's left of the burn pile. And then further up on the hill, we've got another down tree actually on our property. We got to get cleaned up. We're going to try to do that in today's video as well. Got to remove our fancy engine cover. Very nice. So right off the bat, I want to jump in and get your guys' opinion on something. You guys know we don't sell firewood. We're not in the firewood business. Just supply and demand. Where we're at, we could probably sell a little bit, but honestly, everybody has so much downed wood. There's more trees than there are people where we're at. We live in a very rural area. There's not much of a market for the firewood, and the few people that do buy firewood have been buying wood from the same people for however long that they've known those people. So it's not really something we're interested in. And we don't heat with wood. We are all electric, but we do use some wood for campfire wood and for cooking down our maple syrup. And then if we have an excess, we'll give it away to friends and neighbors and things like that. I'm using my neighbor's log splitter. That's a 22-ton log splitter. Now, my local farm store's got some 25-ton splitters on clearance for about 800 bucks right now. And even though we don't use a lot of wood, we always end up splitting quite a bit of wood every year, at least splitting a little bit of what we cut down, just trying to eliminate the waste and burning everything in burn piles like we do as we clean up the property. Now my question is, although I could build a log splitter, I don't think I could build a log splitter for $800. What I'm thinking about doing is buying that log splitter for 800 bucks and then doing some modifications to it that might make it a little bit more user-friendly. We did have that Halverson wood processor that we were borrowing from Clint from CNC Equipment. That was a demo unit. He ended up selling that demo unit. He said, if you want another one, go ahead and let me know and I'll send one down. I said, absolutely. And truth be told, I just never got a hold of them. I think the option would still be on the table if I wanted it. And although that was a fantastic machine, it's more of a machine than I need as far as wood splitting goes. And I had to rent Dirt Perfect skid steer to use it. So it cost me money every time I used it. So I've used both extremes, the awesome, incredible wood processing Halverson wood processor on a skid steer. Of course, we've all used the splitting mole, and I'm leaning towards something in the middle where we can buy for a relatively affordable price for a log splitter and then modify it to what we need. And I'm just kind of looking for your opinions on it. And if you guys have made your own log splitters, how much did it cost you to build it, including the engine, the pump, the hydraulic ram, and all of that? Could you do it for less than $800, including your time? And if you bought one and then made modifications, what were your favorite modifications that you made to it? So I got 3 rounds left to split. The one supporting the hitch, the one supporting that end so she doesn't turn into a catapult and put the bigger rounds on, and that random one right there. Let's do this round first, and then we can get it moved out of the way. Why'd they make the tree so big? Yeah. There you go. Twisty, jerky motion. Yep. There you go. Oh, closer. Yeah. Last one is this big boy, tucked underneath. Fella could get fancy and try to snag it, but we'll probably just pull forward, you know. We'll go ahead and put the hood on so we don't forget. Let's get this out of the way, and we're just gonna cram backwards and hope for the best. That's about the best way I know how to back up a log splitter. Oh, watch out for that one. There is a maple right there. It's going really well. Going really well.
nobody sees that, you know. This is the next spot we're going to use the splitter, so we're just going to go ahead and unhook it here. Grab us a wheel chuck here so they don't add to the pond habitat. Well, that's a fine looking wheel chuck there. Love it. Next step, we got to get what's left of this burn pile. We're just going to kind of broadcast it out, then use one of our grading logs over here. Just taking it and just throwing it around. There's going to be some hot spots in there yet. That'll be all right though. A lot of hot spots in there yet. Oh, there's a big old rock. That's good. I like rocks. Just kind of mix all this stuff together. Go ahead and grab one of these logs. So these came off that same tree, and yeah, we could have cut them and split them, but they've got another purpose to play as far as the little quote-unquote reclamation that we're getting ready to do. One, we're going to use them just to kind of grade stuff out a little bit. That will be job number one for them. Job number two for these logs is obviously with all the other trees and everything that's in the woods, whenever it rains on this hill, all the existing vegetation does the job of getting this stuff to slow the rain down on its way down the hill. That way it doesn't wash stuff out as bad. So what we're gonna do with these little logs we have left over is we're just gonna place some of them across like that. Give them the old pat. And that's gonna help slow any rainwater down until these trees become more established next year, which you'd be surprised how fast these will grow back. All the little whippersnappers we had to cut just to get access in here, they've all got established root systems, and this time of the year I would think that everything's probably close to dormant. So those root systems should pop up some little starts next year pretty quick. I'd say within a couple years, this area will shape up and look absolutely fantastic. And if you stay at the channel, you'll know, because I'll show you. Well, that's slicked up pretty good, especially for the condition of the dirt and what we're dealing with, but that looks good. You still got some steam and some heat coming up through some of those hot spots, but we'll come down later today or tomorrow and most of that'll all be gone. I love it. I'm happy with it. We're calling this 100% wrapped up. We're gonna head up to the next thing I wanna get finished. I don't know if you can see, but there's a tree right up through there that I got blown down, it's uprooted. We gotta get that taken care of, but since we're right here with the Mini, I wanna go ahead and get that burn pile smeared out as well. Huge update on that. I keep telling you there's a big update coming. Huge update on that. We had this pile up and burning just a few videos ago. There's some stump balls left in here we're gonna pick out and lose down here in the ditch. And then the rest of the dirt we're just gonna smear into the bank here like it never happened. That's my plan. Looks like there's still some heat in this one too. So all this dirt and ash and stuff that didn't burn, we're just gonna slop up on the hill here. Same thing, just kind of blend her in. It's good. Get you a good, good breath of that. Imagine being dumb enough to have a closed cab and run with all your windows open when you do stuff like this, you know? Oh, that'd be an idiot. That would be an idiot. Very fancy. That's nice. Oh, still on fire just a little bit. We'll scrape some of this slime off of here. Then we'll move on to that downed tree. Looks like we do in fact have a maple. You can see it was uprooted, blown down. She's kind of tied into that tree up there as well, covered in the poison ivy. More poison ivy branches. And there are maple branches, so that's good. We'll start with trying to rake some of that stuff off there. Fortunately, these maple tops are soft enough or weak enough at this point that we can just grab them with the machine and crunch them up. Save a little bit of saw time. You know, we will replace this glass sooner rather than later, but I'm not saying that's not a handy feature right now. Got 372 out. We'll do some cutting on all this stuff. Save us a little bit of what in the flying critter is that? I don't know what these are. They're all over the place. They don't bite, they don't sting, they're just... Oh. Can you see them out in the woods though? They show up on camera? Having a clue. Anyway, we're gonna do some cutting. I ripped my chainsaw pants the other day. Not with the chainsaw. I'm gonna say just because they're old. I'm not gonna say because of holiday weight. Anyway, I got some new ones ordered. A little sketchy, but not too bad. Hopefully that root ball just falls right back in its hole. Sun is definitely starting to set over the ridge. I had to go run and pick up the Admiral's Christmas present. It showed up via freight, because that's how I do it, fellas. That's how you got to do it. Anyway, I'm gonna spend the rest of the evening getting these two maple logs cut up. Might as well go ahead and try to split one load real quick. I'm not normally a glove guy, but the poison ivy on the logs is gonna make me be one. Let's see if we can get this back down to my neighbors. We got the fuel topped off. He sent me with his fuel can as well, and we got his fuel can topped off. Let's go for a little ride here. You gotta watch out for the bears around here. They'll get you. They'll get you. So here is the plan. We're gonna do a little bit more cleanup, get a couple burn piles put together. I thought about burning today, but tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and which means we won't be around, so I won't be able to check up on them, see how the piles are doing. So we're just gonna stack these and save them for another day. But after we get all this cleaned up, we'll go up, we'll give you a big ol' update on the YouTube yacht. Everything's official, so we can talk about it now. All right, it's a good way to not make progress. Could we put it back on because I got the tools in the side-by-side? Oh yeah, absolutely. Could we get her cleaned up with the file so she cuts again? Absolutely. Is tomorrow Thanksgiving and my motivation incredibly low, so I just want to sit in the operator seat of a mini excavator for the rest of the day? Yep, that's the one. That's where we're at. So up here and what we're working on now is a perfect example of what we are or have been trying to fix since we've had this property. So you can see there's some nice, this is a poplar here, a younger poplar coming up, a good poplar here coming up, and that's great. The mess we have that was created long before we have this is whenever old and dying trees came through, whether it was a disease or whatever, it came through and wiped out some of these species of trees, they were left as dead standing. There are a bunch of them, and then they fall, and when they fall they take out all these smaller adolescent trees. They fall on them, they bend them down, they break them, and then that allows stuff like this greenbrier or invasive species to get up into the canopy, take over the canopy, and kind of take over. You see some smaller trees in there. Good example of what I'm talking about. A dead tree came down right here, pulled that tree down, and that gives a chance for that briar to get up in it, because now it's got all the sunlight it needs to fill that space in, and it just continues the cycle, and everything just gets overtaken, and we end up with a really nasty overgrown underbrush. Not terrible for habitat, but not what we're looking for kind of property. And we've been working on that for years. We started with our John Deere 755 tractor, then our Ford 555 backhoe. Back through there we've done a tremendous amount of work, and you can see how much it's cleaned up and how much it has improved, because when we first got here it all looked like this. The vine situation also not super conducive. At the very minimum, we've definitely got ourselves a decent path up through here now to start kind of working left and right. Certainly not upset about that. We've got one kind of semi-organized burn pile, and then a spot we can just start picking this stuff now. Even getting in and doing some handwork, which we're definitely going to have to do. She's definitely still a mess though. But there's definitely, there's good new growth in there. We just gotta keep it cleaned up so nothing comes down and destroys that new growth. So if you're new to the channel, this is the YouTube Yacht. It is a boat-themed, paddle wheel boat back here, boat-themed rental cabin that we've been in the process of building. We've been building it with YouTube revenue funds. That was the goal from the beginning. If you've been with the channel for a while, then you probably want this thing finished just as badly as we do. I will say the zip system and the gray Huber system holding up fantastic, which that's what they're supposed to do, and everything inside looks great. Really don't have any issues. The grain from that was when it was exposed to elements before we got the roof on, but everything in here is holding up fine. We had some fellas move in. Nature's loving it. Anyway, the goal from the beginning, like I said, was to build this thing out of YouTube revenue. We didn't really want to have to borrow for it, or borrow against anything we already had. But as we sat and kept working on this, and we sat down and we did the math, we realized it was going to be, honestly, probably another 3 years until we'd be 100% finished with this thing if we continued that route. And we didn't want to do another 3 years. So we went and we met with our finance guy, and we said, what are our options? He said, well, you got plenty on the house, you could do that. Didn't really want to do that. Not a fan of borrowing on the house. We've got the gym, we could do that, which is one of the reasons we have it, so we have an insurable, equitable asset that we can use if we want, but didn't really want to borrow on that. And he said, well, how much do you have done on this? We sat down, we did the math, and they were comfortable with using what we've got as the collateral so we can get ourselves a construction loan. That was probably several months ago when we had that conversation, and then we were just kind of watching things, sitting and waiting and deciding when we wanted to go ahead and actually do that. And as of yesterday, that's finalized, it's done, the money's available. We have a video making the repairs to the 304, a video making repairs to the Chevy 2500, and a video with the Hoosier National Forest. Random, I know, but it'll be fantastic. And then it will be YouTube Yacht for 6 months, all gas, no brakes, full beans, until it's finished, because 6 months is how long they gave us to get it done for that construction loan. So if you've been wanting to see this thing's finished as much as we have, well, I got some great news for you. It's gonna happen. Still a little nervous about that. The whole point of building out of revenue was that we could rent it if we wanted to rent it. If we didn't want to rent it, we wouldn't have to rent it. It didn't have a whole lot of overhead. Now that we got a little bit of a loan on it, we definitely have to rent it some. But
It's either that or build on this thing for 3 more years.
So let me know about the log splitter and what you think about that. And then let me know what you think about the YouTube. You excited to be back on it? Because we're going.